Coming up on today's episode of the Money Pants Podcast, what are the 5 stages of overcoming the fear of work? What to expect when you first start out assigning your kids new jobs? And how about the benefits of overcoming that fear? But first, the joke of the day.
2 kids are talking to each other, and one says, "I'm really worried. My dad works 12 hours a day to give me a nice home and good food, and my mom spends the whole day cleaning and cooking for me. I'm worried sick." And the second kid says, "What have you got to worry about? Sounds to me like you've got it made." And the first kid says, "Yeah, but what if they try to escape?" Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of the Money Pants Podcast. We are your hosts, Hannah and Fontaine Judd, and we're the proud parents of 7 sons and 6 daughters, ranging in age from college student to toddler. We're both BYU graduates and the creators of Money Pants. Head on over to CaptainMoneyPants.com to learn more about what we do and what we're all about. Today's topic, overcoming the fear of work.
There was a famous Harvard Grant study, and it's been going on for over 75 years, and they determined that the most happy and successful people had 2 basic attributes in common. One was love, and the second was that they learned to work and had responsibilities at a young age. And so today we wanted to talk about overcoming the fear of work as part of that. Okay, you want to become successful, you've got to learn to work, and you can develop a work ethic or improve your work ethic at any point in your life. But one roadblock to that is if you have that fear.
Yeah, it's a major roadblock.
So, and you had that experience when you were a teenager where you had to face a particularly big, overwhelming job.
No, I was 16 and I got a job at a construction site, but it wasn't a typical, single family residence, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet. No, this was a giant 8-ward church building. It had 2 stories. And it was called 8 wards because it was for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where these huge congregations would meet there, and they had 2 full-size basketball courts in this building, countless classrooms, 2 chapels. I mean, it was huge. And there was, at any given point, there was probably 20 different construction workers, and they would toss all their garbage on the ground so they could continue working and then clean it up later. And I got hired, and it was my job to clean up and to let the construction workers, the craftsmen, do their job and not have to worry about wasting their time cleaning up. So that was my job, was cleaning up after them. And I remember one time in particular, right after I got hired, they gave me the assignment of sweeping one of these giant basketball court cultural hall areas. And it was, to my little 16-year-old brain, it was overwhelming. It was huge. It was massive. There was garbage everywhere. And they gave me a broom and a garbage can, and that was it. And they're like, "Go." And I remember thinking, I can't do it. I remember thinking, I'm going to fail. That feeling, I remember it so well. The pit in my stomach, that feeling of dread. They're going to fire me. I'm not up to the task. I can't do it. I'm going to fail. Oh, I hated that feeling. And it was just this overwhelming task before me. And then something clicked, or I decided, you know what? I'll just start. And I did. I started sweeping. And I'd sweep up, and then I'd make a pile, and I'd put it in my garbage can, and I'd sweep, pick up, garbage can, over and over and over again. And it was amazing to me because after maybe an hour, I looked up and I was done. And I was like, wait, what? That was it? This giant job that was so overwhelming, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it. I was going to get fired and blah, blah, blah. I finished in an hour. And I realized a very important lesson that day, that I can do it. That my fear was unfounded and kind of silly. But before I got to work, I was certain that I wasn't going to be able to do it. It was a weird thing, and it turns out it was totally unfounded.
Well, I had kind of a different experience. In my family, we had a large family, and my parents did this thing where they had a rotating chart, and we would change jobs every single day of the week. And so one day you'd have bathrooms, next day you'd be in charge of the vacuum, next day dishes, and so on and so forth. And the rotating chart had a problem. The problem is if you followed a person the day of a person who always did a good job, like let's say they did a stellar job at cleaning the bathroom, well, the next day the bathroom wasn't going to be that dirty.
Wait, did it change every day
It
or every
changed
week?
every day.
What?
It changed every day.
Oh, I
And
didn't know
so the problem was, like, let's say I cleaned the bathroom really well. Let's say my brother followed me. He could tell my mom, look, the bathroom's clean because it was leftover clean from the day before. And so he could, pretty much get away with not actually working during most of the week. But there was one job in our family that you could not get away from doing. And it was like the death sentence. It was the dishes. And that job was horrible because we had a big family and it was like Thanksgiving dinner every night. And the job wasn't broken up very well either. The person who's in charge of dishes had to clear and wipe the table. They had to sweep under the table. They had to clean the whole kitchen, and they had to do all the dishes, and what didn't fit in the dishwasher, they had to wash by hand. So this was this huge job, and everybody else would be, oh, dinner's over, let's go relax. And you'd be like, oh yeah, I want to watch that movie. Oh, you have dishes. And so it was just this dreaded job in our family. And when I grew up, I found I still dreaded the job dishes. Like, it would make my heart sink, the thought of having to do the dishes. And I hated it. And so here I was married. I had several young kids, and I found that I was still always hoping that my husband would do the dishes, or I could somehow negotiate, or if I didn't do them long enough, my husband would come in and do them, something, and that I would somehow get out of doing the dishes. And I thought, gosh, this is stupid. I'm an adult now. This is my home, and I've always had these dishes, and they're gross, and I got to do something about this. And so finally, I thought, you know what? The problem is I'm always hoping that someone else will step in and rescue me.
Now, when did you make that realization?
We lived in Burbank, so I don't know. We've been
So
married
couple
like 5
years into our marriage.
Yeah, 5 years.
And it's something that you just, you know what? This needs to stop? Is
I've got to figure out a way. And so I said, I got to grow up. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to do the dishes every single day, rain or shine, for the next year. I'm not, even if I don't get anything else done in the house, even if it's not vacuumed or, the laundry's piling up, I am going to do the dishes, and I'm not going to let anybody else do them. Only I will do the dishes. And so what I found is when I did that, I eventually I started going, okay, how can I get this job done? And I finally just kind of had to face the job. And I went, okay, you know what? This is a huge mess. I'm going to load all the cups in the dishwasher first. Okay, next I'm going to do all the bowls. Okay, now I'm just going to do all the plates. Okay, pots and pans. Okay, silverware. And I developed a system that I would follow. And after a while, a couple of months, I found that I actually didn't have to think about doing the dishes. And I started relaxing while I was doing the dishes. And I started thinking of things and coming up with ideas. And it was
No.
actually...
You didn't start coming up with ideas. All your ideas. That was your favorite time.
I started talking to myself. Anyway.
No,
but
every time you would come
you're
to
like,
me
I have an
afterwards,
idea.
and you would come to me every day. You'd be like, oh, and this and this and this and
Yeah.
this. Oh, and what about this? I mean, I think you came up with a cure for cancer and invented Velcro. I mean,
all while doing the dishes. So
all joking aside, though, you had constant ideas of how to run the home better, or what we should spend our money on, or like it was constant.
it was my thinking time.
I remember
it's
that.
because it was this task I didn't have to think about anymore. I was comfortable. It wasn't taking me off guard in any sort of way. It was just I had thoroughly accepted it. And to this day, I can do the dishes and not feel that pit in my stomach and that stress. And so it was a good feeling of, hey, I'm not scared of the dishes anymore. So after I did this experiment on myself, I thought, okay, well, I should do that with my kids. What if I did that with my kids?
Yeah.
And because I remembered this rotating job chart that my parents had, and I remembered that the problem was that some of the kids kind of could get away with not learning to work, or
No, we
or
had money pants at that point. We were using a version of money
yeah.
pants, but we were rotating, I think, weekly.
Yeah, we were doing some sort of frequent rotation. And so what I did instead is I said, okay, your job is going to be to clean the dining room for the next year. Your job
wait.
is still going to be
The
to clean
next.
for the next year.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I tried this on my kids. And what happened was it made my job a lot easier of instead of having to like try to figure out, oh, are you the one that didn't clean the bathroom or was it you or who, there wasn't that blame game going on.
Mhm.
Where, hey, if the bathroom's not clean, it's you because you've had that same job for 3 months. It's nobody else's job.
Mm.
And so that made my job as the parent easier.
Right.
Where, with the limited energy and time I had, I didn't have to play that game of, okay, who's
Right.
slacking off or whatever. But what happened is, and we found this since, that anytime you give kids a new job and you tell them, hey, this is going to be your job for the next year, they kind of go through, every time they go through a process. And the process is at first,
Whoa. So
when we go, hey, we're changing jobs, everybody goes, oh, we're changing
no.
jobs.
So you got the 5 stages of grief. You got like
Yeah.
denial and anger and all the and
Yeah.
acceptance and all that. We've noticed the same thing when it comes to assigning jobs.
Yeah. There's all this excitement of, oh, we're changing jobs. Oh, what's my new job going to be? Oh, and they're kind of nervous. They're kind of excited. And you give them their new job. You show them how to do it. And they're kind of excited that they can do it. Where they're like,
Well, no,
I've never done
New, it's new. It's exciting.
Yeah. And that excitement maybe lasts 2 days.
Until reality sinks in.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. A week is the most I've seen it last. Anyway, and that quickly turns into them feeling overwhelmed and actually hating the new job.
yeah.
Especially when they realize, wait, I'm going to be doing this for the next
I'm going to be
year,
doing this stupid
every
job.
single day.
Yeah.
And they...
Oh, and that's another thing. These are daily jobs we're talking about.
we're
Not the
talking...
weekly
Yeah,
ones. We're
yeah,
talking,
yeah.
So like laundry, or for some people, or definitely bathrooms, or dishes,
vacuuming the house,
vacuuming, or whatever it is. These are the daily jobs that have to get done, rain or shine, and that we're assigning to the kids. And
cooking helping cook the meals
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
meal
and
prep.
they're like, oh, this takes longer than anyone else's job, and this is harder.
Yes.
Every single kid will say, my job is the hardest job. And then they say, I would rather do any other job, just not this one.
Yep.
Okay, so pay attention because this will happen to you if you try this too. And you have to firmly and kindly assure them that their job is not going to change. They can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We usually end up giving out extra rewards during this first month because it's...
Well, no, we even call it the 30-day challenge because it's...
If you can get through the first month, you're golden.
It is a challenge, though. It's challenging for the people doing the job, but it's also challenging for the parents to stay the course.
And sometimes it takes them longer to do their job, so we're a little more lenient on that.
Yeah, but it does work. It will play out. It does work.
Yeah, trust us. You just have to get through the first month, and after the first month, they finally accept that mom and dad are not going to bend, that this is, in fact, going to be their job for the next year.
But almost universally, it takes about a month.
It takes about a month
It's the
for
weirdest
them to
thing. It doesn't matter.
accept it.
And we've noticed even with the 2-year-olds, the 8-year-olds, the 15-year-olds, every single one of them will push back for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yep.
And they'll come up and they'll find ways to trick you, or they'll hide all the clothes in the drawer, or they'll try all these little techniques to get out of the job.
And it's where you have to be the strictest on it. Like during the first week, you give them more time, you give them more chances of inspection.
Kind of the honeymoon
Maybe
period of the job.
You buy donuts for everybody who gets their job completely passed off.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's another blog.
Things.
We'll do a whole blog
about
the 30-day challenge.
But after the first month, they finally go, okay, no, mom and dad are serious about this, and they accept their job. But it's also important during that time not to let them get away with doing a sloppy job.
Right. By the end of the month, they should have basically not perfected, but they should be able to do the job very competently as well as any adult or cleaning service would do.
Yeah.
What you'd expect from that.
Anyway, after that, they accept it. And once they accept the fact that that's going to be their job, they start developing a system.
That's
and just like I did, where, I do the cups first. I do the bowls. Then I do this. And as soon as they develop their own system for getting the job done, then things change. Then and then it gets to the point they don't have to think about the system. It's the same every day. They start getting their job done very fast, very efficiently, and they don't cry, they don't feel overwhelmed, and they get it done. And they start to actually relax during that time,
And
where it's
enjoy it.
not,
Yep.
it's job time. Okay, blah, 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 blah. It's no big deal. And so they become so comfortable with the job. And that first month,
No.
well, the first month is hard, but you're not going to be changing jobs every month. You're not going to be changing
Yes.
jobs every 2 months. So you get through that first month.
You're good for the rest of the year.
The rest of the year, Mom and Dad, you are golden. Your house will run like a well-oiled machine. You're going to have a professional dishwasher. You're going to have a professional bathroom cleaner who's good at what they do and very efficient. And it's amazing. You start that 30-minute job timer and your house just transforms.
Yeah, it does.
And
it's almost like magic.
It's like, but it's satisfying for everybody.
So yeah, and that's it. Those are what we call the 5 stages of overcoming the fear of work. Are first there's excitement and nervousness, which lasts all of a day. Then there's the feeling of being overwhelmed and the hatred for the job and trying everything they can to get out of it. And that, unfortunately, that lasts a while. For some kids, it may be a little shorter, but really, we've noticed over and over again for the past 20 years, it takes about a month. It takes about a month for a kid to finally accept and overcome the fear of the new job. And then stage 3 is acceptance, where they're like, okay, it's my job, fine. And then stage 4 is they develop a system to become more efficient. And that's the other thing. Every kid is different. They may not come up with the most efficient system, but they always come up with a system that works for them. And it's very fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because you actually get glimpses into your kids' personalities too. And then the last stage is the 5th stage of this overcoming the fear of work is once they've accepted the job and developed a system, it becomes something they look forward to and they enjoy. Yeah. And like Hannah had, where when you were doing the dishes, it was your time to relax and think, and you actually looked forward to it and you enjoyed that time. It was kind of like me time for you. And then think about it. If you're doing a mundane task over and over again, you've already figured it out. Your brain now has the opportunity to go elsewhere while you're doing whatever task it may be, whether it's mowing the lawn or doing the dishes or whatever it may be. And you can actually get some great thinking done.
Yeah. Well, so besides like rotating the jobs very slowly, meaning not changing jobs until the end of the year, there are some other tips that help kids overcome the fear of work. I actually thought of them as we were discussing this. What? And one is work at the same time. So don't do what the thing where my family, if you had the dishes, everybody went to the living room to relax while one person's working on the dishes.
That's isolation.
It's isolation,
that
being left out.
Yeah.
Everybody should be doing their chores at the same time.
I can't think of a better way to terrify somebody of a job than knowing they're going to be ostracized from the family.
Yeah. So it helps if everybody's doing chores and working and cleaning at the same time. One thing we like to do is turn on music during job time. So it's kind of got to, gets you moving along. Another thing that helps is to set a timer, to have a time limit.
Yeah, without a doubt.
When they're first learning a new job, you have to kind of extend the time limit because they're trying to learn a system and they need a little extra time. But once that's done, you should, for mercy's sake, you need to set a time limit. Because I remember when I was a kid and we didn't have a dishwasher and we were just doing dishes by hand. And I was so overwhelmed by the job. I remember it would take me like 3 hours.
Oh, good grief.
And I was there playing with the soapy water, pulling the cup out and, seeing what I could do with bubbles. Yeah. And I was in there for 3 hours and that actually made me dread the job more. Whereas if I knew, no, you've got to hurry. You've got 30 minutes. You better go fast. The job would be over or the job would be given away to somebody else.
Yeah, it's merciful for the parents. It's merciful for the children. I really
nothing
like that.
makes you dread a job, and
knowing that it's not going to end.
It's not going to end. It could go on for 3 hours, 4 hours. You'll be there all day. And especially for little kids, that's overwhelming. Where if they know, the timer's
going back to when I was 16,
and it's going to stop.
I remember thinking that sweeping that basketball court was going to take me all week.
Yeah,
and it took me an hour.
Yeah.
If someone had set a timer for me, I probably could have got it done faster.
Yeah. Well,
But that dread of knowing it's going to go on
and on and on.
That's a really good
So,
point.
our daughter Trixie, who's has a talent for efficiency, when she would do the dishes, we have a commercial dishwasher where you can put in.
Well, now we do.
Now we do. But we have a large family, like really large. You put in a rack at a time, it washes it in a minute and a half, and then you do the next rack. And it usually takes about 10 or 12 of these racks before we're done with the dishes. Anyway, so what she would do is she would set a timer for herself, and she would race the timer to see if she could get a load, how fast she could get a load loaded in. And so it was a game that she would play because she had a little partner who would dry the dishes for her. And they would play this game with the timer. So that would help. So having the same job for a year, having
a job timer. Everyone working at the same time.
Everyone working at the same time, having music going, all things like this, they can help you face it and accept it and actually learn to
really
enjoy that time. And so the benefits of doing this, we're helping your kids overcome fear of these different jobs in the house. The benefits are this.
Kind of two really main benefits are we notice that the kids have a tendency to take once they get to that acceptance stage, they start taking a stewardship over their job, and that's really fun to watch. Where, for instance, I have noticed some of my children, the bathroom in particular, whoever's cleaning the bathroom will actually get upset at their siblings or anybody else who messes up the bathroom. Because like, no. I just cleaned that. Don't you go messing it up. Oh, you dropped your clothes in here. Don't leave your clothes in here. You get that out. Or, hey, you just put that all over the counter. And it's great because as the parent, I'm not the one nagging. I'm not the one begging my kids to clean up after themselves. That they're actually taking that initiative and taking responsibility for that zone.
It's like having 12 moms in the house.
It's kind of awesome. But it's that social peer pressure of each other.
Yourself.
Everybody's watching out for each other, knowing, hey, I have to sweep that later. You better pick it up. I've just watched you spill. You pick it up.
Yeah, so that's great. And then next great thing is that they become very confident. They develop this I can do attitude. And the best thing was when my daughter Trixie, I think she was like 10 or 11, came to me one day and she had this epiphany. And this was completely unsolicited. She said to me, Mom, I used to think that some of the jobs in the house were so hard. I thought, oh my goodness, dishes, that's such a hard job. Laundry, that's such a hard job. And she goes, now I don't think any of the jobs are hard. I'm not scared of any of the jobs. And I was like, cool that is really cool. I didn't have that at her age. I didn't have that. No. I was like, that's incredible. But she thought all the jobs were easy. And because she
totally
had
unsolicited.
them,
she just came up to you one day and
So that's kind of the goal, is to have a kid that has that I can do attitude. Because if they develop that at home.
Isn't that what you want as a parent?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're hoping for your kids by the time they leave home, you hope that they're like, yeah, I can do it.
Yeah.
And they're not scared of
college, when they're off at their own, well, they're doing, I can do it. I can do it. That's something, you can't, I don't know, you can't trade.
Yeah, you can't buy that.
You can't buy that. These are just different ideas to help, you can help nurture that.
And the best time to do that is at the home. And why not have your kids learn how to take care of their surroundings anyway and develop work ethic and have a clean home? It's like the best of all worlds. It's win-win-win, whatever the phrase you want to use, where it's great across the board. It takes the pressure off the parents. It's going to help them in whatever
they do. It's going to help them in whatever they do. And so those are kind of the tips and tricks we have for overcoming the fear of work. Yeah. And that also explains why, like with the Money Pants app, we have it set up in the way that we do, where you assign the jobs out and it's for the year. The jobs don't rotate.
It's not meant to be changed constantly.
Yeah, it's not meant to. That will just add extra stress, and it will interfere a little bit in this objective of helping individuals overcome the fear of work.
And that's it. Those are our thoughts on overcoming the fear of work. We'll see you next time.